The quantum anomaly appeared without warning, a ripple in spacetime that threatened to unravel the very fabric of Earth's reality. Dr. Naomi Patel stood in the control room of the Quantum Detection Array in New Zealand, watching as her life's work confirmed humanity's worst fears. The anomaly would reach Earth in less than 72 hours, and when it did, it would tear apart the quantum structure of every atom in its path. "There has to be something we can do," she whispered, though the simulations had already given their verdict. Earth's most advanced technology was useless against this fundamental disruption of physics itself. That's when they arrived. The ship emerged from what appeared to be a fold in space itself, its surface composed of ever-shifting geometric patterns that seemed to defy Euclidean geometry. It was massive, nearly the size of Manhattan, and unlike anything humanity had ever witnessed. Before Earth's military forces could react, a message reached every communications device simultaneously, translated into all human languages. "We are the Xanthians. We have watched your species' emergence into quantum awareness. The anomaly approaching your world is beyond your current ability to counter. We offer our assistance." The alien vessel positioned itself at the exact coordinates where the anomaly would intersect Earth's orbit. Its impossible surface began to pulse with energy that rippled across spacetime itself. When the quantum anomaly struck, the Xanthian ship didn't just block it, it absorbed and redirected it through what appeared to be higher dimensions of space. Earth was saved. But at a terrible cost. The Xanthian ship's surface began to fragment, pieces of its geometric patterns falling away like broken glass. A final message reached Earth: "Our vessel's quantum core is failing. We gave freely of our last reserves to preserve your world. Our civilization faces extinction, our home system's quantum stability was compromised centuries ago. Remember this day, for it shows that even between stars, compassion endures." Before anyone could respond, the ship vanished, leaving behind fragments of its impossible surface that fell through Earth's atmosphere like a shower of crystalline meteors. The next 6 months transformed human civilization. The fragments contained technologies that revolutionized humanity's understanding of physics, engineering, and the nature of reality itself. Dr. Patel led the international team studying them, making breakthrough after breakthrough. But she never forgot the price of these advances. They could have used this power to save themselves, she told the United Nations Assembly. Instead, they chose to save us, strangers they had never met. We owe them everything. The fragments revealed more than just technology. They contained star charts, coordinates, and most importantly, quantum signatures that could potentially track the Xanthians across space. Humanity had a path to find their saviors. The Global Space Initiative was formed, uniting Earth's resources toward a single goal: finding and saving the Xanthians. Every new spacecraft incorporated their technology. Every breakthrough in quantum physics brought humanity closer to understanding their benefactors' plight. 10 years passed. Humanity established its first colonies on Mars and Europa. Ships capable of manipulating spacetime for faster-than-light travel were built. The search for the Xanthians continued, driven by a debt that every human child learned about in school. Then, at a quantum monitoring station on Europa, Dr. Patel's team detected something, a familiar quantum signature, matching the Xanthian artifacts exactly. But the signal came with disturbing data, evidence of massive quantum disturbances in that region of space, similar to what had nearly destroyed Earth. Admiral Raj Henderson, commander of Earth's first deep space fleet, received the coordinates with grim determination. "Prepare the fleet," he ordered. "It's time to repay our debt." As humanity's ships prepared to venture into the unknown, no one could have predicted the ancient horror they would discover lurking in the quantum fabric of space itself, or how their quest to save their saviors would reshape the galaxy forever. In the observation deck of the flagship Quantum Horizon, Dr. Patel watched Earth's sun dwindle behind them. Whether they were ready or not, humanity was about to face its greatest challenge. The race to save the Xanthians had begun. The Quantum Horizon's bridge hummed with activity as it prepared for its first quantum fold jump. Admiral Henderson stood at the command station, watching as his crew made final preparations. The fleet of 7 ships represented humanity's finest achievement, vessels capable of manipulating the quantum fabric of space itself, built using knowledge gained from the Xanthian artifacts. Lieutenant Kira Yamamoto, the ship's quantum navigation specialist, approached with a holographic display. "Admiral, we've mapped the quantum disturbances along our projected route. The signatures are troubling." The display showed waves of disrupted spacetime, like ripples in a pond, but these ripples could tear apart anything caught in their path. "Similar to what nearly hit Earth?" Henderson asked, though he already knew the answer. "Worse," Yamamoto replied. "These disturbances aren't random. They're spreading in a pattern, almost like something's causing them deliberately," Dr. Patel finished, joining them at the command station. The quantum physicist hadn't slept in days, analyzing the data from their long-range sensors. "Whatever's creating these disruptions, it's systematic. And it's heading toward the source of our Xanthian signal." The implications were clear. Someone, or something, was hunting their benefactors. The fleet initiated its first quantum fold, the fabric of space bending around them in impossible ways. When they emerged, they found themselves in a system that bore the scars of quantum devastation. 3 planets orbited a dying star, their surfaces stripped of atmosphere, riddled with quantum fractures that made them look like broken glass. "Life signs?" Henderson asked. "None," replied Dr. Marcus Rivera, the fleet's xenobiologist. "But there are remnants of advanced civilization. These planets were inhabited, possibly within the last century. The quantum damage is fresh. They found their first real clue in the system's outer reaches, a derelict space station of clearly alien design. The architecture resembled the geometric patterns of the Xanthian ship that had saved Earth, but these patterns were broken, disrupted." A team led by Dr. Patel boarded the station. Inside, they found something unexpected, a quantum archive, still partially functional. As they accessed its data, a holographic message materialized, an alien figure composed of interconnected geometric shapes, its form constantly shifting like liquid mathematics. "To any who find this," the message began, "we are not the first. The quantum harvesters came before, in the early days of our civilization. They feed on quantum stability itself, draining it from entire regions of space. We fled, searching for a way to stop them. But they follow always, consuming everything in their path." The message continued, revealing a truth that shook the human fleet to its core. The Xanthians hadn't just been running from a natural disaster, they were fleeing from an ancient enemy that consumed quantum stability itself, leaving broken physics and dead worlds in its wake. "We've found scattered colonies of other species," Dr. Rivera reported, examining recovered data. "All of them fled the same enemy. Some tried to fight. None succeeded. But humanity had something these other species didn't, the very technology the Xanthians had sacrificed to save Earth." Dr. Patel's team had spent a decade not just studying it, but improving upon it. Understanding it in ways perhaps even its creators hadn't fully explored. "The harvesters consume quantum stability," Dr. Patel explained to the fleet's gathered command staff. "But the Xanthian technology doesn't just manipulate it, it can generate it. What if we could use that principle as a weapon?" Admiral Henderson studied the proposed calculations. It was theoretical, dangerous, and would require modifications to every ship in the fleet. But it was also the first real hope they'd found. "Begin the modifications," he ordered. "But we need to move quickly. According to these readings, the quantum harvesters are closing in on the Xanthian signal, and we're not the only ones who detected it." As the fleet worked to prepare for a confrontation with an enemy that consumed the laws of physics themselves, long-range sensors detected something else, other ships, from other species, all converging on the same coordinates. The race to save the Xanthians, or perhaps to claim their technology, was about to become much more complicated. In her quarters, Dr. Patel studied the quantum patterns from the Xanthian archive. There was something familiar about them, something that nagged at her consciousness. The answer was there, in the mathematics, if she could only see it in time. The future of not just the Xanthians, but perhaps all life in the galaxy, might depend on her finding it. The first contact with other alien species didn't come through diplomacy, it came through desperation. The quantum horizon sensors detected a small ship under attack, its quantum drive failing as dark, web-like structures attempted to drain its stability. Without hesitation, Admiral Henderson ordered a rescue operation. Those structures, Dr. Patel observed from the bridge, they're similar to the damage we saw in the dead system. The implications were clear, they'd found their first direct evidence of the quantum harvesters at work. The rescue proved successful, and their new guests revealed themselves as the Nexari, a species of bioluminescent beings who had also been searching for the Xanthians. Their representative, first speaker Luminara, shared their own encounter with the ancient benefactors. The Xanthians saved our colony from quantum collapse, Luminara explained, her skin pulsing with patterns of light that the translators interpreted. But the price they paid, we thought we were the only ones they'd sacrificed themselves to save. Dr. Patel and Lieutenant Yamamoto exchanged glances. How many others? Yamamoto asked. We've confirmed 12 species, Luminara replied. All saved by Xanthian intervention. All left with fragments of their technology. All searching for them now. The revelation changed everything. The Xanthians hadn't just saved humanity, they'd been traveling the galaxy, sacrificing pieces of themselves to save civilizations from the quantum harvester's destruction. But why? The answer came from Dr. Rivera's analysis of the Nexari's data combined with their own. It's not just about saving individual species, he explained to the command staff. Look at the pattern of their interventions. The Xanthians are building something, an alliance, a network of civilizations each holding a piece of their technology. Dr. Patel's eyes widened as she finally understood the patterns she'd been seeing in the quantum mathematics. They're creating a quantum web, she said. Each fragment of their technology, each piece they left behind, they're nodes in a vast network. But it's incomplete. Before they could fully process this revelation, the fleet sensors detected a massive quantum disturbance. The harvesters had arrived, not just one or two, but a swarm of them. Their dark, web-like structures began spreading through space, draining quantum stability from everything they touched. Multiple ships dropping out of quantum space. Lieutenant Yamamoto reported. Signatures match vessels from at least 8 different species. They weren't alone in their search anymore. Ships of various designs and technologies appeared around them, some fleeing the harvesters, others moving to engage them. Each represented a civilization saved by the Xanthians, each carrying a piece of their benefactor's legacy. Admiral Henderson made a decision that would change the course of galactic history. Open channels to all vessels, he ordered. It's time we stopped working separately. The next hours were a cascade of desperate diplomacy and tactical coordination. Some species, like the crystalline Varixi in the energy-based Solari, were initially suspicious. Others, like the quantum-sensitive Aurori, immediately recognized the potential in unity. Dr. Patel worked frantically with her counterparts from other species, piecing together their understanding of the Xanthian technology. Each civilization had developed different applications, different insights. Together, they began to see the full scope of what the Xanthians had planned. The harvesters consume quantum stability, she explained to the assembled representatives. But if we combine our technologies, create a complete quantum web, we might be able to generate enough stability to drive them back. The challenge was immense. The various species' technologies weren't designed to work together. Some operated on principles that seemed to contradict others. And the harvesters were closing in, their dark web spreading, consuming everything in their path. But in that moment of crisis, something remarkable happened. The Nexari's bioluminescent patterns synchronized with Varixi crystals, creating new forms of quantum manipulation. Human quantum fold technology merged with aurora sensitivity, enabling precise control over spacetime itself. Species that had never met before found their technologies singing in harmony. As the harvesters approached, Admiral Henderson watched the impossible collaboration unfold on his bridge. Humanity had come seeking to repay a debt to the Xanthians. Instead, they'd become part of something far greater, the fulfillment of the Xanthians' true plan. But even as the Allied fleet prepared to face the quantum harvesters, Dr. Patel made a disturbing discovery in the combined data. The Xanthians weren't just running from the harvesters. They were guarding something that could either save the galaxy or destroy it completely. The true nature of their debt was about to become clear. The combined fleet hung in the void of space, a testament to cooperation born of necessity. 12 species, once strangers, now united by a common debt and a common enemy. On the Quantum Horizons Bridge, Dr. Patel revealed what she discovered in the merged data archives. The Xanthians aren't just running, she explained, her holographic display showing a complex quantum pattern. They're protecting the seed of creation itself, a quantum genesis point. The assembled alien representatives reacted with a mixture of awe and fear. First speaker Luminara's bioluminescence pulsed rapidly. A source point of quantum stability for the entire galaxy. More than that, Dr. Rivera added, his xenobiological studies having revealed patterns across all species present. It's the origin point of consciousness itself. The harvesters aren't just consuming quantum stability, they're consuming awareness, thought, the very possibility of life. The quantum harvesters' true nature became clear. They weren't just physical threats, they were anti-life itself, seeking to return the galaxy to a state of unconscious chaos. The Xanthians had discovered this truth millennia ago and had been protecting the Genesis Point ever since. Admiral Henderson studied the tactical display as more harvester webs appeared at the edge of their sensor range. How long until they reach our position? 6 hours, Lieutenant Yamamoto reported. But the quantum disturbances they're creating will reach us sooner. The Alliance faced an impossible choice. The Genesis Point's location was now clear, a seemingly empty region of space that hummed with profound quantum potential. But reaching it meant crossing through the harvester's advancing web. We need more time, Dr. Patel insisted, working with her multi-species scientific team. The quantum web they were creating could theoretically repel the harvesters, but it wasn't complete. The equations showed gaps, missing frequencies in the quantum harmony they needed. That's when the Aurora representative, Resonance of Stars, made an unprecedented offer. Our species can perceive quantum frequencies others cannot, they hummed. We will extend our consciousness into the web itself. Through us, the frequencies can align. The neural load would be fatal, Dr. Patel protested, understanding the implications. As the Xanthians gave of themselves to save us all, so must we be willing to sacrifice, Resonance of Stars responded simply. One by one, other species stepped forward with their own sacrifices. The crystalline Varixi offered to convert their living bodies into quantum amplifiers. The Solari volunteered to become pure energy to power the web. The Nexari's bioluminescent patterns would serve as the network's nervous system. Humanity, too, had its part to play. The quantum fold drives that powered their ships could create the spatial corridors needed to position the web. But the power requirements would burn out the drives completely, stranding the fleet. Admiral Henderson didn't hesitate. Earth is behind us, he declared. Everything we hope to preserve lies ahead. As the Alliance began its greatest gambit, Dr. Patel made another discovery, one that gave them hope. The quantum fragments each species carried weren't just pieces of technology. They were pieces of the Xanthians themselves, fragments of their quantum consciousness preserved in crystalline matrices. They didn't just give us technology, she realized. They gave us pieces of their very being. And if we complete this web, we won't just stop the harvesters, we might be able to restore the Xanthians themselves. The next few hours were a symphony of cooperation unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Vessels of 12 different species moved in perfect coordination, laying down the quantum web as the harvesters approached. The Aurori joined their consciousness with the network, their sacrifice opening new quantum frequencies. Varixi crystals blazed with inner light as they transformed. Solari energy beings merged with the web's power matrix. Human quantum drives pushed beyond their limits, creating the spatial corridors needed to complete the pattern. Lieutenant Yamamoto's calculations guided them with perfect precision, even as their ship systems began to fail. Through it all, Dr. Patel and her multi-species team worked frantically to align the fragments of Xanthian consciousness within the web. If they succeeded, they would not only save the galaxy but restore their benefactors. If they failed, the harvesters would consume not just them, but the very possibility of conscious life in the universe. As the massive quantum web neared completion, the harvesters' advance guard reached them. The battle for existence itself was about to begin. The void between stars became a battlefield of light against darkness. The harvesters' entropy webs clashed against the Alliance's quantum matrix, reality itself shuddering at the conflict. From the failing bridge of the quantum horizon, Admiral Henderson watched as 12 species fought as one. Quantum web integrity at 60%, Lieutenant Yamamoto reported, her console sparking from overtaxed systems. The Aurori consciousness network is holding, but we're losing cohesion in sectors 7 through 12. Through the view screens, they could see harvester entities attempting to breach their defenses, massive, geometric antiforms that seemed to swallow light itself. Each attack sent ripples through the quantum web, threatening to unravel the very fabric of spacetime. In the ship's quantum lab, Dr. Patel worked frantically with the remaining fragments of Xanthian consciousness. The fragments are resonating with the Genesis point, she called out. They're trying to tell us something. The message hidden within the quantum fragments finally became clear: the Xanthians hadn't just been protecting the Genesis point. They had merged with it, becoming one with the source of consciousness itself. Their scattered fragments weren't meant to be restored to their original form, they were meant to evolve into something new. They're not just fragments of technology, Dr. Rivera realized, his xenobiological sensors revealing patterns he'd never seen before. They're seeds of a new kind of existence. The revelation came just as the harvesters launched their final assault. Their entropy webs began to overwhelm the Alliance's defenses, threatening to consume everything they'd built. The Aurori consciousness network screamed in harmony as it tried to maintain the quantum frequencies. Varixi crystal matrices shattered under the strain. Solari energy beings flickered like dying stars. That's when first speaker Luminara made the connection. The Genesis point, she pulsed urgently. It's not just the source of consciousness, it's a template for reality itself. If we can merge our quantum web with it, we can rewrite the fundamental laws of this region of space, Dr. Patel finished. Make it inhospitable to the harvester's very existence. But the cost would be unimaginable. To merge with the Genesis point meant transcending physical existence itself. Every being connected to the quantum web would have to evolve into something entirely new, or risk being consumed by the transformation. Admiral Henderson looked at his crew, at the representatives of 12 species who had come together to repay a debt and found themselves fighting for the future of all life. No words were needed. The choice was clear. Begin the merge, he ordered. What followed defied description in any known language. The quantum web, powered by the sacrifices of 12 species, connected with the Genesis point. The fragments of Xanthian consciousness acted as a bridge between old existence and new. Reality itself began to transform. The harvesters tried to retreat, but they had come too far, committed too much of themselves to the attack. As the laws of physics shifted around them, their entropy webs began to dissolve. Their antiforms, unable to exist in this new framework of reality, collapsed in upon themselves. Through it all, the beings of the Alliance felt themselves changing. Human consciousness merged with Aurori perception. Nexari bioluminescence became one with Varixi crystalline patterns. Solari energy danced with quantum possibilities that had never existed before. And there, in the midst of transformation, they felt them, the Xanthians, their consciousness emerging from the fragments, integrating with the new form of existence they had helped create. Their sacrifice had not been an end, but a metamorphosis. When the transformation was complete, what emerged was neither purely physical or purely energy, neither wholly conscious nor merely mechanical. The beings that had once been 12 separate species now existed as a quantum symphony of consciousness, shepherds of a new reality where the harvesters could never threaten life again. Dr. Patel's last human thought, before she transcended into this new state of being, was a realization: the debt had never been about saving the Xanthians. It had been about continuing their work, protecting the light of consciousness in all its forms, ensuring that life would always have the chance to grow, to change, to become more than it was. In the space where the battle had been fought, a new kind of light now shined, not the light of stars, but the light of combined consciousness, of 12 species united with their ancient benefactors. The galaxy would never be the same, but then, that had been the plan all along. The debt was paid not through rescue, but through transformation. And in that transformation, something miraculous had been born, a future where the dark between stars would always be lit by the light of conscious thought, evolving eternally toward new forms of existence that even the Xanthians had only dreamed of.